It says I'm live. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, I know I'm 2 minutes early, and don't you forget it. Just because I didn't want to be late. It's a Gemini full moon and just talkie. What? Oh, I know. I know it's a Christmas miracle. How are you? Who dis, right? I know. We can't even right now. We're live. But there is so much to talk about. Oh my God. I love being late, actually. I just adore it. So, but it's not everybody's jam. So trying to be more on time. How are you? Happy full moon. Christina's sick. Well, that's a boo hiss. We're gonna talk tonight about polarity and how to shift from one side of a frequency to another. So I think you're actually in the right place. It's foggy in Nolens. It's sunny and beautiful in Southern California. I don't want to brag. We've had some weird weather. I love it. Rachel's here from the UK and on time, which you do get a gold star for that because is it 1 o'clock in the morning? UK time? I think. Is it midnight? No, I think it's 1 a.m. UK time. So anyway, thank you for being there, whether you are on the West Coast or the East Coast or, not our coast. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you for checking in. It's whatever in Chicago. It's always whatever in Chicago. Love you guys, though, and you have really good food. That's all I have to say. I have stayed in Chicago. I will tell you the noise, like if you don't live in Chicago, like in the city, there's a lot of noise. And so for me, who lives in an area where it's very quiet outside of Los Angeles, when I went to Chicago, it was just like 24 hours a day, and I just couldn't, but the food was so good. So anyway, wishing you sunshine wherever you are. It's 11 a.m. in Queensland, Australia, from Corinne Kelling. So yeah, I love to visit Chicago. I just wish you could make it more quiet for me, and I don't think that's possible. So anyway, our Gemini full moon is off to a full start. I want to start with a giveaway. Did anybody catch me live the other night talking about Enchanted magazine? They accidentally, I don't need those actually. Yeah. They accidentally sent me, or I accidentally signed up for 2 extra issues, I don't mean issues, not like personal issues, like issues of a magazine. I'll have all the issues, but I got 2 extras of these, the fall issue. So I was wondering if anybody would like them. Please comment. I will choose 2 winners. And then if you send your address to us, I will mail them to you. It's kind of cool. I don't need 3 of them. So it was a beautiful edition though. And again, I get nothing for promoting these. When I have special things and I'm not going to use them, I'd rather that one of you has them. I know you'll enjoy them, and it'll bless you. So, okay. Anna Santana, one of them is you, and Christina Goltare. Anna and Christina, could you please send an email to help@magicalentrepreneur.com and just say, I'm Anna, I'm Christina, here's my mailing address. And then I will gather up your address and send them to you. So Christina Goltare and Anna Santana, congratulations to both of you. I think you'll be blessed by it. It's a great issue. It's the autumn issue, but for me, it's still so relevant. And I was reading to you from this issue the other night in the Dr. Athena Paracas group. So I'm very happy for you. And cheers to both of you. It was just a quick I have these things and I don't need them. So I want to prepare you for tonight. One thing I want to tell you is, did you know that we have after parties now? So after every full moon and after every new moon, the conversation continues for an hour. It's a new class that just started and you're not too late. So we're going to be together live from 5 to 6 p.m. this hour of power. And then we're going to take a pee break. And from 6 to 6:30, and then from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, I will be live on YouTube with a private link for my students in a program called Wax and Wane. which I think is a cool name for all of the moon phases, right? The new moon, the full moon, and everything in between. We have a juicy conversation ahead of us tonight because I'm taking it kind of a different direction. So if you have not signed up for the after party, it is not too late. If you sign up now, you'll have access to the link. It's $39 a month. You get this month you get 5 classes, and 2 of them have happened. Tonight's session 3, and then you get the Yule ceremony on the 21st and the new moon ceremony on an after party on the 30th. So if you haven't joined us yet, the best I think is still ahead of us. So if you would like to join us for Wax and Wane for this month, it's the best value of the year. I don't know that we have 5 sessions again because we don't have 2 new moons again. So I think this might be the biggest power punch. It's like $5 an hour. And you get all my handwritten notes and all the things. So we would love to have you. MagicalEntrepreneur.com, and you're going to click on Wax and Wane to join us. And I'm so glad you're liking it. Thank you, Amal. Well, I'm thankful that you're here. You know, it's I was sharing with Lee, who's in the physical room with me, what a difference a year makes. You know, a year ago, I really still didn't know where my life was going, and maybe I still don't know, but I have a better idea now. And it's amazing how much progress you can make in a very short period of time. I want to say this as I clear the energy, and I want to encourage you to burn something too, because full moons make people crazy. Are you crazy? We're all crazy here, right? What's that line from that movie with Jack Nicholson? Don't sell crazy. We're all stocked up. Don't try to sell me crazy. I don't remember what movie it was, but I'm just like, yep, don't sell me crazy. I'm all stocked up. You can sell me sane. You just can't sell me crazy. This is an actual leaf from my dad's white sage plant. So I've been using 1 leaf at a time. That's how little white sage it takes to clear a space. So it's extra specials. Are you crazy? That's good. I like crazy people. I understand you better than the people who say they're not. So let's just clear a little bit of energy, right? You think we all felt blown out to sea or thrown out to sea, and we're just floating, and now the raft has appeared and we're back together. What a beautiful way of putting it. Well, maybe we needed a minute. You know what I mean? That's one of my mantras in life is I need a minute. Give me a minute. And now we're back, and we have important work to do because we're on the cusp of a really potent new year, right? Mercury is direct today. You know that, right? Mercury direct on a full moon in Gemini. I've been surprisingly quiet the last 24 to 48 hours, not internally, but externally. I've been noticing like I haven't been saying much, but I think it's because so much is being said energetically that I don't feel the need to add my voice to it. You ever feel like that? So if there's time tonight, I'm going to pull some cards. I chose this deck. I really don't know what deck it is. I always throw the boxes away. I'm really guilty of that. And then the authors don't put their names on the deck, which is okay. But then people like me are like, I don't know what deck it is, but it's the one that Spirit wanted me to pull cards from tonight. So have you been quiet too? It's like, usually Gemini full moons have you going blah, 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 blah. And instead I'm like, shh, 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 shh. You've been cranky, Hannah? That's okay. Do you get cranky? I kind of like that. I don't know. I like crank a little bit. I always say I don't trust people until I've seen them kind of cranky, spanky, you know, like people who are just like, no, everything's fine. I'm always like, let's see what you look like when you get cranks, right? So anyway, I'll take I see you're cranky and I raise you a spanky. You've been withdrawn. Well, you know, the end of the year does pull us into a little bit of silence, right? I want to remind you that even if you do not honor any of the big traditional religious or spiritual holidays, millions of people around the world, like tens of millions, I don't know if it's hundreds of millions, but it's tens of millions of people in the next 2 weeks have their high holiday. Hanukkah, Yule, Christmas, Kwanzaa. So even if you don't celebrate any of those, it is still a time to be quiet. It is a time to go within and to rest and recover and to be generous with ourselves and with each other and to think of others before you think of yourself. And it's a time of divine sacrifice. It's a time of finding the light if you celebrate the Jewish tradition, right? So it's a time of remembering that even in this darkness, because Yule is just nothing but a big dark well of darkness, the 21st, which is coming up on Saturday. So I'm with you next Saturday for Yule ceremony in Wax and Wane from 5 to 6 p.m. But that is the longest night of the year. And it can suck itself. You know what I mean? Getting dark at like 4:30 p.m. can just suck it. Like right now, 5:09 p.m. is going to seem really great that it just got dark because it's going to be like 4:45. But the good news is the day after Yule, the 22nd of December, is always my favorite day of the year because the light's already coming back. That night is shorter than the previous one, and the one after that is shorter than the previous one. Then we get to February 1st, which is Lee's birthday, which is Imbolc, which is the midpoint between winter and spring. And I'm always like, woohoo, because we're halfway to spring. And then all the bunnies get pregnant. And then Easter. And then the darkness goes away. And yay, right? Yeah. And you're doing Letha. I know. Corinne in the Southern Hemisphere. Y'all, while we are up here going, oh, it's so dark. You guys are down there going, I have squashes. I got apples. Because it's summer in the Southern Hemisphere. So, but then, there's always that turn of the tide too. And I love this time of year because we remember how global we are. When we are celebrating summer up here, they're down there going, right? So we always like somebody celebrating summer all the time is the way I like to think about it. So can't wait for spring either. And I'm happy for all of it. Christina said, I'm not putting up a tree this year because she misses her dad, who passed away 2 years ago, and he loved Christmas so much. Well, I want to tell you, my heart's totally with you. My mom, this is my 4th Christmas without my mom, my 3rd without my ex-husband. And that happened like whoop-de-whoop, right? Like right back to back. And the first Christmas after both of those things, like I really didn't want to do the thing. I mostly did it for my kids. This year was the first year where I was like, I actually want to see Christmassy things and listen to the music and do all of those things. It takes time. So I just want to tell you that wherever you are with this process with grief is okay. And whatever Christmas looks like when you're going through a struggle is exactly what it needs to be for you. And if we can do anything to lift you up, we're here to support you. Maybe make a new tradition. I've been trying to do that too. Like what can Christmas mean for me when the person who loved it the most is gone? Because my mom was like Dr. Christmas. So it's really hard. And I still haven't, filled her shoes. So anyway, I just see all of you guys, right? Because a lot of you have had a lot of loved ones who have passed away, right? Your tree has lights, but no balls. Christine, but Christine, I mean, all of us, I won't call you out, but a lot of us have been through loss, right? And grief. So Christmas is both one of the happiest days of the year and one of the most challenging days of the year. If you celebrate it, just like all the holidays are, right? So here's to more lights, less balls. Here's to better weather. Here's to, yeah. Oh, I love that. Sriana said, did I pronounce it correctly? What a beautiful name, by the way, Sriana. Embody the glue that held the family and become the glue. I really want to thank you for that. That's quite lovely. Become the matriarch, become the patriarch, become Dr. Christmas or, Dr. Hanukkah or whatever it is in your family, right? Like you can become that, but it takes time. But I'm really seeing all of you in the feed who are experiencing that, right? Martina said this year was my first year wanting to celebrate as well. She's doing it non-traditionally, right? And there's medicine in that. Lisa's brother just passed last Saturday. So she's trying to make the holidays nice for her mom. What an amazing human you are and child you are. Shouldn't every mom have that, right? When one sibling goes, the other one can try to step in and make it beautiful. Michelle says, I don't really feel like putting up a tree this year. Not traveling to go see and spend it, right? So let's think about that tonight. Can we do this? Because remember what the full moon is, right? First and foremost, that's what we're here for tonight. The full moon and I would pick up this big light behind me and show it to you if I could, but it'll screw up the dynamics here. But, imagine a big round ball of light, kind of like what's on this creation card, right? It's a beam of light. And what the full moon is, the way I've started to think about it, 35 years after starting to study the full moon, which means you're still a student too, because I'm still learning and rethinking my practice. The full moon is really just a beam of light energy. We get 12, sometimes 13 of them a year. That's not much. You get 365 days. You get one full moon a month. It's like you get 365 dinners a month, maybe, or lunches or whatever. So imagine if there was one each month that really had meaning to you. That's really what the full moon is, like the most important meal of your month. And it's this light that you can direct in any area, sector, part of your life that needs illumination, magnification, manifestation, right? These are all the energies of the full moon. Now, traditionally, we don't do clearing at the full moon, right? That's the new moon. The new moon is the dark, clean slate. It's the time when we wipe away everything that, isn't serving us or hasn't served us for the last lunar cycle, and we call in the new energies that are going to serve us or are what we want to create. But I've also started to learn from experience about the full moon that light can be a cleanser. What happens to, if you cut your finger and you keep it in a Band-Aid nonstop, it doesn't really heal till you take the Band-Aid off and let it hit light and air, right? Light, sunlight detoxifies. It has an antibiotic effect, right? It can kill viruses, right? Sunlight, moonlight has a very nurturing, loving, healing, physically healing and detoxifying effect. So tonight's not necessarily about removing, clearing, but it is about healing. It's about putting that big light onto the place in your life that needs to be visible. It was interesting because my ex-husband and I separated 2.5 years ago, but he didn't want to announce it publicly until it was last year, exactly this time, came up in my memories. And it was like shining a big light on the truth of what had happened in my relationship. And do you know, like, I've healed since then. Like, a lot of things happened after that. As soon as it was like the secret was out, it was like the universe just put this big beam of light on my life and allowed it to start to heal, because now everybody knew, like, this big secret was out. And I was so thankful that he was finally willing to do that, because it allowed me then to speak about it and talk about it and put the big light of that December and January full moons on it. And then everything shifted after that. So I want you to look at the dark places in your life, the places where you really have hurt and pain and wounding from the past. And because Gemini governs your thoughts, right? Your way of thinking, the way of understanding, it governs that. It governs your words, your thoughts, and your intentions, right? Your mental manifestations. I want you to think about where in your life, what parts of your life could heal if you were able to talk about them. And it was oddly like that moment for me was not a sad moment, because I had already grieved everything. That moment for me was like the big exhale, like, everybody knows now. I don't have to keep secrets. I'm not good at keeping secrets. I halfway want to give everybody their Christmas gifts today. You know what I mean? So I'm not a secret keeper. So there was this big, like, and thank you for seeing my growth, because I have grown a lot, So have you. So where in your life do you need to stop keeping things under the surface, right? Tyler says, I'm not even the same person I was 3 years ago, right? You're not the same person you were a year ago, right? So is that a Leo thing? I don't know. But I will tell you, like, there's a discomfort in me with, like, sitting on something, because it disrupts my energy flow in my central channel. So it's not good for me to sit on things. I don't like that. So, so all the changes in your life, I want you to think about where in your life is there still a place where you're like, well, I'm not ready to talk about it yet, or I'm not ready to process that yet, or I don't want other people to know that yet. And it's like, why? what's wrong with truth? Now, here's why I'm asking this question. Okay. The sun is in Sagittarius, right? Not for long. It's going to transition to Capricorn soon. So happy early birthday to all of you Capricorns. We are still in Sag territory. Okay. So what is Sagittarius about? Truth, capital T. Not just what my truth is, but what the collective truth is. What we all need to know that we don't know. Right? Sagittarius governs the dark arts, right? Like the occult studies, everything that is under the surface. We want to know what everything means. Are there really aliens? You know, what are these drones in New Jersey about? And by the way, I'm not asking for conversation about that. Please, I can't. I just can't. It's too much for me. But I'm just saying, like the things that we like are out there that we don't have the answers to, right? Yeah, we're honest. We want to talk about it. We want shit on the table. We don't want to play shell games, right? Like, whatever. Like, we don't do that, right? And then the moon is in Gemini. So we want to find the truth and talk about it, right? And we don't want to have deep, dark secrets. And those can be personal secrets and collective secrets. Either way, it doesn't serve us. And we understand that, right? It is. I was laughing last night because I almost moved to New Jersey. I don't know if you know this. We were in the process of buying a house because I had gotten a really good job at Fairleigh Dickinson University coming out of my doctoral program, and my husband was from the East Coast. So we were like, yeah, let's move to New Jersey. And it was such a beautiful part of New Jersey that we were looking at and all those things. But what I loved about people in New Jersey, because I was new to New Jersey going and exploring the area, is, people in New Jersey are vibrant. They're going to tell you like it is. They just are, it is what it is with people from New Jersey, which I love. So there was a news report the other night that was telling people in New Jersey not to shoot at the drones, which I thought in California, you wouldn't have to tell people that. You'd have to tell them not to try to board the drones and go to another dimension. Like, please don't try to board the drones. Don't try to, channel the drones. Don't try to attract the drones to your backyard. In New Jersey, it's like, please don't shoot the drones. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, that's right, New Jersey. Don't go doing that. Don't adopt the drones. Yeah, these drones are not your friends, right? Like all the things you have to tell people. Same in Seattle. I know. So anyway, I'm glad that you're my peeps and we can laugh about these things. So anyway, I want to go back into the astrology of what's happening right now. So this is the last full moon of 2024. It is not a super moon. We've had all of our super moons. Its penis is a little smaller, but that doesn't mean it isn't a full moon. It still has all the same physical, optical, and spiritual properties as any other full moon. It's just a little farther away from Earth, so we don't call it a super moon. It has small m energy, small d energy tonight, but it still is shining brightly on you. Now, the sun and Neptune and the moon are in what's known as a T square. Okay. Two planets that are opposed to each other, and a second that's in that is square to it. What's true? What is not true? And what do we need to know about it? Let me repeat that question to you tonight, because if you're taking notes, we'd love for you to write that down. What's true? What is not true? What do you need to know about it? Not everything is your business. Did you know that? Not everything needs to be addressed, especially not by you, right? So a lot of things in this universe are there for you to observe, but not for you to fix, change, or solve. So I want you to ask yourself tonight, how many Geminis do I have? Sun, moon, rising? Any Geminis? I have 0 Gemini in my chart. Do you know if you have Gemini in your chart? Yeah, we need to, you know what, in our free time. Yeah, what we really do. Like, I should know your chart inside and out. And your kids too. Actually, I did Lainey's chart one time. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. Yeah. She has an inspector profile. Yes, okay. Well, listen, Gemini, I love you very much. You talk too much. And you think everything's your business. And I love you for that. I really do. Because Geminis are they're friendly. Let's talk about the light side of Gemini. You're friendly. You're outgoing. You know a lot of things, right? a lot of you've read a lot of things and you just are very, very wise. And we know that. Downside is that connection between what you know and your mouth is real, real tight. And it just goes from your thought to your mouth to your words real quick. And sometimes you need to check it before you wreck it. And so Geminis don't have a lot of the check mechanism. And so you need to learn to read the room, right? Like, not everybody came to the party for your opinion, even though you're very friendly about it, very wise, and usually you're right. But it's just like sometimes Gemini needs to take a break, right? So check yourself before you wreck yourself. Now, if you have other placements, you'll automatically do that. If you have some Virgo placements, we have to worry less about you, because Virgos check it before they wreck it, right? Saturn in Gemini means you're going to learn your hard lessons of life through the way you communicate. So congratulations, Circe, on that great prize. Jamie said, my mom is a Gemini and she's brilliant, but my God, that woman has so much energy. Manic is not the word. They're great professors. You know, they're just talkermans. Your Mars is in Gemini, so the way your masculine shows up as a Gemini, you're going to tell people how to do it, where to go, and how to get there. Coral, right? So again, nobody has to go wonder what Coral thinks, right? So anyway, just knowing this about yourself helps you, right? Every bit of awareness that we have, every sign has its light and its shadow aspects. Some people in my life, I wish they would talk more. I wish they had like all kinds of Gemini placements. Instead, they've got, every other placement, right? Tons of Scorpio, tons of Virgo, tons of Cancer. It's like it's all, behind the scenes. So Black Moon Lilith in Gemini, right, is going to mean that a lot of your shadow energy, it depends on where Pluto is too, is going to show up in the form of your communication, right? So anyway, all for your greater awareness and just knowing that Gemini has its gifts, but you also have your challenges and we have to manage both. And by the way, I'm in line for people who have to manage their own challenges. It's not like I won the lottery either, but we all have to know what our strengths and weaknesses are. Geminis forget that their words land. My mom had Gemini and Aquarius. That's a kind of a lethal combination, because Aquarius is like, here's my opinion, I'm going to give it to you. And Gemini has no filter. So it's just like, I'm going to give it to you right now the way I want to. And it was always just like, that didn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like there's what you want to say, and then there's how it's going to be received. When I used to be a writing teacher, I used to talk about writerly writing and readerly writing. And I want to explain what that means for Gemini for tonight. Okay. This is like life right now. Some people write to get their thoughts out. That's writerly writing. I'm going to write what I want for myself. I don't care what you think of it. Some people are readerly writers. They write to be read. So they think about how the audience is going to read their words and interpret their words and when they should share their writing and how. You want to be a readerly writer. If you want to express yourself, it's important to also think about how those words are going to be received. I read a book on parenting last year, on parenting adolescents, just because my friends of mine had recommended it. It was actually a really good book. My main takeaway was timing. The day your kid bombs a test is not the day to say to them, well, your acne is really at an all-time high. Did you know that? You're just really breaking out right here. The day they come home and go, I totally bombed this exam. Timing, right? It's if you have to tell your adolescent about something that's challenging, it's better to wait until they're in a headspace or a mind space to hear you. That is very much a Gemini moon thing. Like, is now the time is the question you have to ask, to have that conversation, to have that, can you tell your kid about their acne tomorrow? Right? Give them 24 hours for everything else to land before you put on top of their failed exam that they don't look good. You know what I mean? And that's how it is with life too. Like, one of my favorite astrologers talks about timing of conversations, right? And there's what you want to say, and then there's when the person will be able to hear it. And if you can line those things up, it takes incredible strength. And it may mean you have to put a cork in it until the timing is better. What I would say is, with all the astrological omens, with this Neptune moon sun T-square, I would just say wait, especially give Mercury coming out of retrograde, give it its shadow period, give it 3 or 4 days. Things aren't going to translate correctly or accurately right now. Something you say may come across in a way that you didn't intend it. And I think that's why I've been like a little bit of like, when a problem comes along, you must zip it. I know it's whip it, but I'm just saying for the purposes of our conversation. Okay. What used to work before isn't working as well now. I also want to say there are people on a spiritual growth path in this lifetime, and there are people who are not. I think you know that. We're going to get into this more in the after party, but it's coming up more now than ever. There seems to be, are you sensing this too? Like this really great chasm between the people who came here to learn, grow, evolve, develop, and the people who came here almost to stay as much the same as they can for as long as they can. And it used to be like, are you one of those? Am I one of these? And now it's like, no, there is an absolute wall between the two. And then who's carrying each other's water, right? So some of us who are clearly on a path for spiritual growth, whether we like it or not, are carrying some water for people who are clearly not on a spiritual path. And the message that the astrology is giving that I want to share with you, again, I don't make the rules, but this is what's coming up in the astrology, especially with this T-square, is if you don't want to carry their water anymore, then just don't. And guess what's going to happen? Either they'll find somebody else to carry it, or they're going to have to start carrying it themselves. There's just a little bit of like, we have to break these cycles of codependence, which is going to break up old patterns, which is going to help us be in a deeper state of truth, alignment, awareness, and accurate communication, which is Sagittarius sun, Gemini moon, and help those people find their new people, because it's not your business what happens after you stop carrying the water. It's not your business where they go. It can feel like it is, right? So your water is really good, Casey. Carry your own water. Stop going, hey, can I carry your water? I'd also like to carry your water. And then you're like, this is so heavy. I mean, I do the same thing. Like, okay, well, what am I doing, right? So, and it can be your mom, it can be your partner, it can be your friend, it can be a neighbor. Sometimes it's your children, right? And as a parent, that's a line, right? Like we think we're here to carry their water, but like your kids at a certain point are their own souls. And so we also have to ask, like, what's that line, right? It gets murky, the water, doesn't it? What's mine? What's yours? But these are things for us to think about. Okay. So, now, the other thing I want to mention is I do think, and I've said this all year long, I think there's a system upgrade happening now that all the outer planets are direct. Mercury is stationing direct, for us to understand that the next couple of weeks is a little bit of an upgrade to the system. Now, I'm making this up, but it's been my own experience. When I need to upgrade a system, when you upgrade a system, what do you usually have to do that's kind of a pain in the butt? Do you know? Like, oh, I'm going to upgrade this software. I'm going to upgrade my phone. When do you upgrade your iPhone? Usually, if you do the upgrade, do you do it in the middle of the day or do you do it overnight? You do it overnight. And why? Because the phone has to be shut off or it shuts itself off. That's what's happening. So I'm going to recommend that you do your iPhone 94 upgrade. I'm using that example. I don't even know what version of anything we're on anymore with technology. I'm always like, this is version 89.9. whatever your upgrade is in your system, let's have you do it when you can rest. So I'm also just saying table, and I know this is hard for Geminis, but like table what's really tough right now, if you can. You will have, oh, it's iOS 18.1.1. I kind of love knowing that, even though absolutely, if you ask me an hour from now, I won't remember that at all. But thank you, Michelle. So anyway, wait till you can shut your phone off to go through your upgrade. And your upgrade this year seems like it's going to come from conversation, negotiation, mediation. Conversation, right? So just table as much as you can for right now, because you want to come completely out of the shadow of Mercury retrograde. I think we want to open the 2025 portal before we step into all of that, because there's a different frequency. And almost every major astrologer is talking about it right now. So there's a lot of information about this happening, and it has to do with a lot of different placements. I'm trying to give you the upshot of what's happening in our multiverse. Okay. Say what you mean what you say. And then, but also understand what it means for you to be a spiritual practitioner. Okay, I don't really have a big exercise for us tonight, but it would be great if you had a piece of paper and a pen. Okay. And I would like for you to, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I would love for you to draw a line down the middle, because Gemini, this is the other beautiful part about you guys. You're like a twofer, right? There's two different personalities that come in one person, and we don't know whether we're getting Joe Bob or Joe Bobette with a Gemini, right? Literally, Gemini is like, you'll be talking to them. Sometimes you guys switch mid-conversation, which is really special. It's a +1 built in, and we love you guys for it, but it's also sometimes hard to keep up with. So I want you to, in honor of tonight's full moon in Gemini, I'm going to drum and open this circle first. I know, I'm sorry to call you out, but you know who you are. And if you're a Gemini moon, it just means all this is happening, but it's not even like super conscious all the time. So that's even more of a party. You need Gemini moons in the in the house. My mom's sister was a Gemini, and God bless her, but she was always like, I'd pick up the phone and call her, and like, which version of you am I going to get today? Although going through menopause, I also feel like that. So I just want to say I have a lot of compassion for Geminis, because I think everyone in menopause feels like a Gemini a lot of the time. So I want you to tonight, drawing this in half, I want you to, when we do the exercise together, I want you to dialogue tonight with your higher self, and without judging what you're writing, it can be words, phrases, whatever. I want you to look at the positive aspects of your upgrade that's happening right now, and I want you to look at the shadow aspects of your upgrade. So let's call this the light, and let's call this the shadow. What's going to be easy for you to navigate in the next lunar cycle? What's going to be more challenging for you to navigate in the next lunar cycle? And when we get to that exercise, you can start now if you want to start writing, if you feel called. But I just want you to hold space for that and have a piece of paper. If you don't want to write it down, that's okay. With Gemini, though, you either have to write it down or you have to say it. Thinking isn't enough. Gemini is very much about committing language to form. So Geminis like to write, they like to type, they like to talk. So, because again, they have a thought, but then the thought meets the mouth, and there it is. So I want you to kind of commit things to written word or to the spoken word. And Jamie's been writing for days. I've been using my audio function on my phone a lot, because sometimes I just don't have the energy to write things down, and I'll overthink it as an editor. Excuse me. So I like to use my voice, because I'm not overthinking it when I do that. So Carrie has a great question. How do I know what my upgrades are? And Sharon's asking the same question. And Michelle's asking the same question. You know what happens when you write? You get clarity. I don't know what your upgrades are, but you're going to find something out about it when you just start writing. And the only questions you have to ask yourself are, what are the positive, easy, light aspects of my transformation, my upgrade? And what's challenging me right now? You're in the upgrade now. You see it, right? This isn't new news for you, is it? No. I know it's not, because I know you guys. Like, I know you've been in the crucible. I've seen it. I mean, it's really been for all of us the last 6 to 12 months. And it's amazing, like I said, for me to look back to a year and a day and see what was happening in my life. Like, I think I exhaled for the first time a year ago after 2.5 years. Like, that's a big deal. I've only been breathing for a year. So I'm going to ask myself tonight, because that's such a poignant memory for me. Like, what are the light aspects of going through that portal? And what are the challenging aspects of going through that portal? Where has it brought me toward enlightenment, and where has it made me feel pushed deeper underwater? It's juicy, right? Yeah, Millie says she's in an analytical frame of mind. Well, that's very much true to this moon too. So, we can also invite Gemini to sit down, take a break. Right? Is insomnia normal during the download? Oh my God. If you, honestly, again, what is even sleep anymore? Right? I mean, you've had sleep disruption. I almost don't, everybody's cycles, you may be different. So I don't want you to feel like you have to feel this way because I'm saying it. I don't know anybody who's getting just a really great, lovely night's sleep right now, or has for the last like 6 to 12 months. I'm seeing 2 hours at a time. I'm seeing 4 hours at a time. I'm seeing people wanting to sleep during when they should be, or wanting to be awake when they should be sleeping, and vice versa. Or when you do go to sleep, it's real deep and heavy. Like, I'm not a napper. I'm not good at napping. I wasn't even in kindergarten when they would like almost pay you to take a nap, right? Like, here's a graham cracker and some punch, and I still couldn't like lay on my blanket and do the thing. Now if I take a nap, it's like I go to the ninth dimension. Yep, every few hours. I see it on Facebook. I see when you post. Or I'll send emails and it's like, really? You feel drowned? Yeah. It's time to come up for air. This next year that's coming, is better than 2024. 2024 was like trying to knit a sweater out of tooth floss. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shitty analogy, but you know what I'm saying. Like, do you want that? You have a sweater, but it's made out of tooth floss. So 2025 is going to be about creating things that are sustainable, nourishing. Yeah, it's a reset. It's like, I made a sweater, but look at it. Yeah, we're all overwhelmed. It's the first thing in my notes for tonight. We all are. I am. It's okay. Hibernation is upon us, right? Yeah, you're super duper not alone. And it's nice to be able to say it too, because I think most people, especially this time of year, are like, everything's okay, I'm okay. Like that meme where they're on fire, but they're like, everything's okay, this is okay, I'm okay. It's like, so let's stabilize the energy tonight by calling in the guides and the guardians of the 4 directions, starting with the east, as we always do. All hail the guides and guardians of air. Right, let's take a breath here. And exhale. It's really important. I've seen people really being dramatically impacted by stress in my own personal life right now. one case in particular really hit me hard this week. It really hurts your body. Gotta stop the stress. Right? We just have to take time, have to take a breath. So guides and guardians of air, help us to breathe. Help this breath of life go to and nourish and refill every empty space in our body, in our mind, in our spirit. Refill the chalice for us tonight, so we're not pouring from an empty cup. Yeah. I'm really here to ask you as your sister to try to lower the pitch just a little bit. It's very important. Because you're important, right? You got one body. Your system is overloaded too. If you're feeling it, your body's already bearing it. So let the guides and the guardians of the East do a reset for you tonight. Reset, renew, restore. Ask your cells in your body tonight to open, to receive, to allow. You can dialogue with every part of your body tonight, by the way, to let this air in, right? Let your digestive system rest. Let your heart rate and your heartbeat rest. Ask your veins to let the blood flow freely, right? To improve your circulation. Stay with that breath, right? Thank you to the guides and the guardians of air for being here. And it's, Gemini full moon is a big air moon. So the extra breath is welcome tonight. Gives your mind a chance to pause. Less thinking, more awareness. And to the guides and the guardians of the South, guardians of the element of fire, thank you for helping us have the courage to change, shift, and transform, to become a cleaner and purer version of our authentic selves, to shed old skin that doesn't fit anymore. It's like trying to put on a jumpsuit from 1987. You shouldn't do that anyway. Put on a nice shawl. Thanking the guides and the guardians of fire for being here and helping us wear clothes that fit. And to the guides and the guardians of the West, element of water, purification, nourishment, abundance, healing on all levels, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Here we can ask for nurturing for the divine feminine. My teacher always says, put the hand of compassion on the back of your heart and lean back. Feel that you're being held by a force greater than you. Thank you to the guides and the guardians of the West. And to the guides and guardians of the North, element of earth, we ask for stability, for grounding and patience and peace. Help us to be a force of stability in our own lives so that we can be that in the lives of others, to be the tree with deep roots. To slow down. To the guides and the guardians of the world below us and the world above us and the heart within us. Help to keep us aligned to our truth, to our purpose, to our passion. Help us to know how our words land and to use them wisely and with love. As within, so without, as above, so below. Together we say at this full moon, Last one of the year. I think this is the 11th year of full moons. 12th year? Going into year 13. Holy smokes. Amen. Aho. And so it is. Oh, Carla, I'm so happy to hear that. Cheers to your health, your full recovery, and all the blessings. Oh, new beginnings. So it is. Okay, so our circle is open. I have to tell you, so I'm all out of candles. And so I'm going to start making my own because, and not, this is not a sales pitch when I bring them to you. I'm not going to be able to make very many because it's just going to be, you know, what I can make in my kitchen. But I don't really have a full moon candle anymore. I burned it and it's all gone. So I'm going to light a candle. It's not like the candle that I would use for tonight. I literally don't have any proper candles. So, and my former company is all out of candles. So I just had it because I was burning. Oh, here it is. So just whatever candle you have. It's just nice to bring in the element of fire. This little light of mine isn't really a full moon candle. But that's okay. If you have any crystals that you want to charge, by the way, because we don't have eclipse activity. Yeah, blue candles are great. Gold candles are great for full moon in Gemini. I love blue and gold, actually, for Gemini. Is super, super good. Use what you have, right? I have some quartz and some apophyllite that feels really good from my altar. So I'm going to just hold these two crystals for a moment, and then I'm going to put them on my altar. So whatever crystals feel good to you. Quartz is always good for Gemini because it just magnifies everything, and the full moon is all about magnification. So I think having those crystals with you is a good call. You are a tree with deep roots. Pretty cute tree at that, Beverly. Okay, so let's do our exercise for this evening. Remember, we're doing the light sides, you know, the light aspects of this change transformation that we're going through. And we're doing the shadow aspects of it. And I just want to go back and refresh on what I was telling you at the beginning. My teacher did a class yesterday and we're talking so much about this too. So the upheaval that you're going through, the spiritual growth process that you're going through, the change that you have experienced and witnessed over the last 12 months. What are the gifts? If we look at the light as the gifts and we look at the challenges as what's been sort of taken from us, right? And sometimes that's a good thing. Challenges remove things from our lives that shouldn't be there anyway, right? So what are the gifts? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Bookwoman, you are exactly right. It's really, we are the magic, right? I've told you that all these years. You are the magic. So I'm going to write some down, and then I'll tell you, commenting in the feed counts. So, because typing is good, writing is good, saying it out loud is good too. The gifts that it's given me are, I would say, clarity, transparency. And if I seem super clear about mine, it's just because I've thought about it for so long. Because I've had a good long year to look at all this stuff. So clarity, transparency, truth, creativity. And I can say, well, it forced me to be creative, but that's still being creative, right? Like, I mean, I kind of had to figure shit out, but I still figured shit out, right? Okay, boundaries, which I'm with you, Christine, and I think that boundaries are a gift. I'm also going to put boundaries on the shadow side because I've had to arm myself against people I didn't know had weapons. Have you ever done that before? New beginnings. Oh, I like that too. New beginnings. Thank you. love how Lee's trying to make it look like we're not really moving a Diet Coke across the screen, but we totally are. Courage. Oh, I like that from Christina. I'm going to add that to mine too. You can take ours and kind of be inspired by them too. Frenemies. Hi, Uvi. How are you? It's nice to see you. Ooh, self-respect. You learned how protected you are. So awareness. Kind of got to see that with like firsthand, huh? Which is really good. Power, right? Growth. Okay, so let's go to let's go down here. Again, challenges and difficulties are not weaknesses. They are, these are actually going to be your growth points too, right? So, and resilience, thank you for that, Lee Austin, because I think that's a big one too. Resilience is learning what you're made of and then operating from that place, which is huge. Human beings, stories of resilience always inspire me. I'm going back to Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, which I haven't read in like 10 years. So it just came up in a conversation and I ordered a new copy because I couldn't even find my copy. But it's like one of the most published books on earth. If you haven't read Viktor Frankl's Search for Meaning, like if I was doing a book club, it would be on my book club list. Yeah, I love it. Roz says learning how capable you are. The only way, through it is through it. So boundaries, we've had to learn that some people aren't who they say they are or show themselves to be, right? Self-sabotage, right? Fear. We're going to be talking about fear a lot in the after party because the shadow side of Gemini, by the way, Geminis always seem so confident. They're actually quite sometimes insecure. And one of the reasons they talk a lot is Geminis don't always love silence because there's fear of it. Like if I'm silent, are people going to think I'm not smart? If I'm silent, are people going to think I don't know you know what I mean? So trusting your gut, complacency. Yeah, I would say that. Grief. These are mine. Grief, sorrow, super big rage and red energy. Like all my Mars and Aries has come out this year. And not always like the sweetest, most gentle ways, right? Getting super big pissed. Yeah, tower stuff. But again, it's interesting. Yesterday, my teacher was teaching tarot at my house, and we were talking about the tower card. And do you know what the tower card is in French? I was blown away. She gifted me this deck yesterday. Sure enough, I pulled the tower card. And again, if there's a few minutes, I'd like to do a few readings. Then I'll continue those into I'll continue them into, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it right now. I should have pulled this earlier. The tower card in French is called La Maison de Dieu, the house of God. Can I find it for you? La Maison de Dieu. Because I speak French, I was like, I pulled the card. This is a French deck. And I literally, she was teaching and I was trying to just hold my shit together. I had never seen that the tower card was La Maison de Dieu. Did you know that? It's the house of God. So you can look at it because the tower card in the Rider-Waite and the major arcana, it's the Marseille deck. So, in the Rider-Waite deck, it's like people falling out of a burning house. That does not look like the house of God. It looks like the roof is on fire, right? And then over here, it's the house of God. So, you could sort of put the tower moments. A lot of you are in tower moments. I'm going to tell you those tower moments are binational, because on the one hand, the tower is the light. It's where God enters. Crazy shit, right? I had a total aha moment, but it's also the place where, God is summoned, right? It's like the divine comes because you call it. Crazy. Yeah. So it's called the house of God because it's the moments that bring you to your knees where you finally say, I need help. there has to be a higher power. I give this to you. My mom used to say, give it to God and go to bed, right? You pulled the tower card for over a year. Me too. And I pulled it again yesterday and I'm like, well, the roof. All right. Right. Okay. So, for me, isolation, a lot of isolation in this transformation, silence, loneliness. I'm just giving you mine. Anxiety. I already put sorrow. I'll just write it again because I think that was like, there just was like a river of tears, right? Tears. Projection. All those things, right? So I want you to do this exercise with me if you feel called, okay? And then we'll do some readings tonight in the after party because I can't believe it. We're already at 6 o'clock. Like the time just goes by so fast. So, but I'm not done yet. So stay with me. I need another 5 or 10 minutes for this. And remember, we started early. I'm going to tell you that for the rest of my damn life. I'm 51 years old and I started early tonight. Okay, so I want you to put your left hand over the light aspects. And I want you to agree to receive these. This is how we heal. I receive all of the gifts of this period of change, transformation. I receive everything, which means I'm going to metabolize it. I'm going to agree to let it be. And this is the big work. I'm going to agree to receive, which feels kind of sweet. I'm going to agree to receive all of the shadow gifts so that I'm not rejecting myself. This leads to autoimmune disease, right? So we've got to knock this stuff off. The rejection of things as they are is what leads us to illness, right? I receive them both with gratitude. Yeah, it is about trust. Thank you for that, Colin. It is about trust. Like, oof. Now, here's where you get to be a little powerful. Right hand, your projecting hand, okay? I'm going to release and also send back to its source anything from the light side of this equation that's ready to be surrendered now. And this is the big moment, right? I'm going to agree to surrender and to send back to its source. Because let me tell you something, like a lot of us, like when I get super pissed, I'm not an angry person by nature. It's just not naturally who I am. So when I'm really angry, I'm not in my own energy field. I'm in somebody else's, right? I'm not a big crier. Honestly, I'm a Leo. We get annoyed with people who cry too much. Like, really? Can you just stop? Like, okay, enough already. You know, like we're not big crybabies. So when I'm just crying, I am not in my energy. I'm in somebody else's energy. I need to send that back to its source. If I'm ready to release it, right? I'm ready to send that back to its source. Anything that is not needed any longer in my field from this cycle, I send it back to its source with love and gratitude for what it taught me. If you're a crier, it's okay. I mean, it is. I don't mean to be a Leo big sister bully, but there are times where I'm like, all right, you've cried a whole bunch. Can we mop it up and move on? And then this year it's just been like, everything makes me weepy. You'll turn around and just see me and it's like, what am I doing? Right? So, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is if you're doing something that, hear me on this, if you're doing something that isn't normal for you, you never cry and now you're crying all the time. You're never pissed off and now you're pissed off every day. You never overthink things and now all you do is lay in bed and overthink things. You are not in your own energy field. And 99% of the energy around us most of the time doesn't belong to us. We're like sponges. So Great Spirit, God, Goddess, and Source of all that is. Thank you for the gifts of this period of overwhelm. We receive them. And those that we're ready to release from this time, we send them back to their source, wherever, whoever, whatever that is, in the original form that they came to us, with so much love and gratitude for what they taught us. And together we say, Amen. Aho. So it is. We should write some bad songs about this, like I'm pissed and I'm crying. I don't even know where to go with that. Today I'm angry. I don't want to be pissed anymore. So I'm not gonna cry tomorrow. That's my terrible singing. There are really lovely songwriters who can really do a beautiful job with something like that. So I encourage you to do that if that's your gift. That's not my gift. But at least I know it. There are people who just keep going like, I'm a songwriter. And it's like, nope. Did you feel it? There's a little bit of a lightness in my spirit too. And it really wasn't there earlier today. So you loved that song? Sorry. Probably won't hear it again, but you can always go back and watch this over and over again if it makes you feel better. You're welcome. You're ready to be in your own energy field again. Feels good, doesn't it? You got to come home before January 1st. It's time to come home. Yeah. It's time to come home. That feels good, doesn't it? We all just want to go home. Somebody does. You know, everybody does. And home changes meaning over time, right? Like home was always just where my mom was. Okay, well, where's home now? So then you become home. And home feels good, like Stephanie says. So thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians, the lower world, middle world, and upper world for anchoring us in the past, in the present, and the future. We release you with gratitude. Thanking and releasing the guides and guardians of the north, the west, the south, and the east. Thank you for your protection, your nurturing, your inspiration, and for your path opening, path finding, helping us start over, refresh, reboot, change the operating program on the computer. Blow out your non-full moon candle that I'm pretending is a full moon candle. Home is where you hang your witch's hat. But your home, mi hermana, right? It is the I am, the yo soy moment. It is. That is the mantle that gets passed to you. And you're ready for that moment. And you're not doing it alone. That's the most important thing. Yeah, I will tell you, I think there was 2 months when I didn't do full moons. Was it 2 months or 3 months when I didn't do full moons? I think it was just 2. You guys would probably know. Talk about like a vacancy, because my whole journey with Sage Goddess started at a full moon, at the blue moon, all those years ago. And not being live for the full moon was like, was it 2? Couldn't continue that. So I am grateful that we weren't apart for long. And the full moons and the new moons for the rest of my career will always be live and available to everybody. And like I said, the after party is just a party bonus, because there's still more to say, like right now. And I'm always like, where do I go with that? Oh, do I go to bed? So we are continuing at 6:30 p.m., 23 minutes from now on YouTube at a separate link that's in your classroom. So if you don't want to leave me yet, you don't have to. I'll be with you. We're just going to go take a break and then come back at 6:30. And thank you for saying that it means a lot to you to have these ceremonies together, because it means a lot to me too. It's really part of my purpose for being here somehow. So cheers to being back together. Cheers to the energy of this full moon. Thank you for celebrating the last one of this year with me here live. I will see you guys in Wax and Wane at the after party in 22 minutes from now. So go take a break, refresh your beverage of choice. And thank you for being here. We'll see you soon.